Hey, what's up everyone? Wolfman here, back at it again with another LEGO Star Wars review. And today I am going to be doing a review on a starfighter from the Clone War era. Now, just a quick update, or just another reminder, I'm doing reviews on LEGO Star Wars ships, spaceships, including mostly starfighters and shuttles and capital ships and whatnot, all leading up to my review of my Grand Fleet, which will consist of good guy ships and bad guy ships. And right now I'm moving, and since we've gone through with Rebel Alliance and Resistance era starfighters, going back in time to the Clone War era, which to me is my favorite which was my favorite series out of Star Wars. And I'm going to throw this teaser out. I am eventually going to be doing reviews on sets part of my clone army. Since I already did a review on my Imperial army, which I did earlier this year, and it's gotten so many views. Anyone who is new to this channel, please feel free to check it out because it's not that big compared to others. But I may be doing another review on that because I had just gotten one of the last few theme sets, but there's some new ones that are going to be coming out next year that I will be getting. So definitely tune into that. But other than that, we're doing Clone Wars era of starfighters and starships. And today, as what the title on the top here would say, I am doing a review on the Z-95 Headhunter. So without any further ado, onto the review. And here it is, set number 75004, Z-95 Headhunter. This was a set that was first released back in 2013, has 373 pieces, and has 3 minifigures, 2 of which are unique. Now, real quick, this fighter was introduced during the Clone War era, and I believe in the Star Wars lore, this sucker replaced another old starfighter, which, quite frankly, was a little bit on the flimsy side. In my opinion, anyways. I never got that starfighter when it was released back in 2008, unfortunately, but quite frankly, this is a better substitute. And I'm going to go ahead and do the review on the minifigures first. It does come with 3, 2 clone troopers and 1 Jedi. As you can see in the photo right here, this comes with a 501st Trooper, a pilot, and the infamous Jedi Master Pon Krell. And this guy was prominently featured in the Clone Wars, I believe in the 4th season during the assault on Umbara. I mean, that was a 4-part series, or 4-part story arc, and unfortunately this guy, he pretty much fell to the dark side and he almost took out the whole entirety of the 501st. Now, once again, I will mention about the detailing. But one of the big features on this set is that it introduces figures from the 501st as one of the major clone divisions within the Grand Army of the Republic. And this army was led by the infamous Anakin Skywalker and clone Captain Rex, who's quite the fan favorite in in the Star Wars universe itself. I do actually have 2 forms of him, but this sadly not included in this set. But the set also does include a pilot, as this is a starfighter, and you always need a pilot for a starfighter. And excuse me. And these guys are well put together. I mean, granted, this was a set that was released back in 2013, so it hasn't even been a decade yet. But the detailing that they've done have changed since then. I mean, for these 501st guys, the arms are actually blue, like a solid blue. Nowadays, they actually have patterns on them, so not entirely a solid color. But for a first start, for a figure from the 501st, this is actually pretty good. I mean, it's got plenty. I mean, both clones do have faces underneath their helmets, and even the pieces needed to make Pon Krell are quite unique. I mean, good. It's about time they actually picked this particular alien species. I can't remember what kind of alien he is, but this isn't the first time they introduced this kind of alien species. If you watched episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan's friend who directed him towards the planet of Kamino by a dart that was shot by or utilized by the clone template Jango Fett. But yeah, just a little more Star Wars lore, especially in this type of alien species whose names escapes me. but I believe that's roughly it. They do have detailings in the back as well, and no figure here has two faces, especially the clone. So I'm gonna put these guys aside and just move on to the Starfighter itself. And this sucker actually is a well put together set. I've seen two different versions of this particular vehicle, mainly in artwork, and this was basically the clone era variant of the Z-95. The other one actually has four engine thrusters, while this one has two, and quite frankly, I like this one more. It's more simple, it looks more aerodynamic, quite frankly, and if you're wondering, this does have some resemblance to the X-Wing Starfighter. In fact, this is basically, you can pretty much consider it a predecessor, or quite frankly a cousin to the X-Wing. Of course, the part of the signature look on it, I mean, you can even tell from the top and the bottom, of course, that it does kind of have that silhouette of an X-Wing. However, it does not have S-foils. It only has two engine thrusters and just a set of wings with guns on each end of the wing. And just to show quick 360 degree, but let me just show you guys the rear. I mean, this is what the back looks like, and it's moderately well detailed, man. No complaints. But this, just how simple this Starfighter is. It actually, I'm a big fan of it. I mean, I could say that for a lot of Starfighters, but for a Starfighter of this particular era that was introduced, I love it. I mean, it's awesome. It does have a few other features. Of course, you can put your pilot, any kind of pilot really, in here, but you can't fit Pong Krell in it. I mean, he's just too tall. But it also does come with a storage unit with this little sucker that comes with a little blaster and some binoculars, the two accessories that come with the set. And you just get placed right in here. You can close that up. But the sucker also has another feature. Let me just flip it upside down. I will point out the landing gear on this. It's got two landing gears right here, right alongside the engine thrusters, and one for the nose. And they actually could be folded away, or retracted, I should say. And actually does give it a bit of a streamlined look, which I actually like quite a lot. But one of the features this thing has, it has a spring-loaded missile. I mean, granted, this was done back in the early 2010s. The sucker had one of these missile launchers in it that you can deploy from underneath, which, quite frankly, I barely even used. Yeah, here's another look at the profile on it with the landing gear retracted. It actually does look aerodynamic, and one of the fun, amusing gimmicks that they did in the show was whenever there'd be a clone pilot flying one of these, they would spin them. I mean, I think it just shows up the nimbleness on how these suckers are flown. And unfortunately, this sucker does not come with an astromech. However, I find it a little refreshing. Not a whole lot of Starfighters that they've done in the franchise actually have astromechs. I mean, granted, there's a handful, including Rebellion era Starfighters, but basically half of them didn't have. I mean, the A and B wings didn't, but the X and Y wings did have slots for astromechs. But this is one of the early. But this and its predecessor, the V-19 Torrent, is going to throw that name out there. That sucker, both of those suckers did not have slots for astromechs, which is fine, in my opinion anyways. I don't know if anyone would agree. If you do agree, then feel free to leave a comment down below. But yeah, this is a well put together Starfighter for its time, and they haven't come out with another one since, because this is mainly a Clone Wars era Starfighter. And the design is, well, simple. But yeah, it's still got some decent detailing, especially on the wings, which isn't that bad. And heck, the sucker actually was a fun build, so I actually did enjoy this. In fact, I love the Starfighter so much, I actually bought a second one. And just to add on to my 501st armies, which at the time when I bought this set, it was pretty small, but it's massive now, which you'll see in a future video. But I believe that is it. I mean, if this is a Starfighter anyone comes across, I would recommend getting it. I mean, it's got some great figures, the design is simple enough, it does come with some playable features on it, landing gear and missiles, and a cargo hatch. So I believe there is nothing more for me to say, so that's my review on the Z-95 Headhunter. If you liked that video, please feel free to leave a like, and I'd like to hear some feedback from anyone, and I do mean anyone. If anyone comes across this channel, then I'd like to properly welcome you to the channel, and I'll be doing more reviews on more starfighters. And if you want to look forward to that, come join the Wolfpack by hitting the red subscribe button down below for more reviews on Star Wars sets, for as long as they're going to keep going anyways, man. I'm eventually going to move on to something else, so if anyone comes along early on before that comes to an end, then enjoy the ride. So I will remind everyone that I'll be doing reviews on more starfighters and such leading up to my review on my Grand Fleet. I know I'm being an echo chamber and possibly being a broken record player saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, but it's definitely something to look into. So yeah, come join the Wolfpack again. Man, broken record player indeed. But the one thing I will throw out here just to remind you that Jesus loves you more than Elmo and Barney. I'll see you guys next time.